Joining me now on the news at 10 is Senate member and member of the opposing party, the PDP, Ayinaya Abaribe. He joins us from our studios in Abuja. Senator Abaribe, thank you so much for joining us on the news at 10. The APC has been in power for 2 years now. How would you assess this administration and its performance so far?
Well, I think what normally happens at this point is that it's the citizen that will ask just one simple question. Are you better off today than you were 2 years ago? And if that question is answered in the positive, then it means the government is doing well. If that question is answered in a very, very high negative, then it means the government could not say that they are doing well. And unfortunately for this particular government, they conducted, I think a couple of days ago, an opinion poll to assess themselves on the social media and got a resounding negative vote. So that means that there's no way this government can say that they have done well. They have not.
If we look at the campaign points upon which the APC came into power, it said it would tackle insecurity, it would improve the economy, it would also fight corruption. Let's look at these three areas. Have they done fairly, in your opinion?
Well, I can only give them a little bit of praise in dealing with security. We could see very clearly that they have tried very much to degrade the capabilities of the insecurity area in the northeast, the Boko Haram people. But of course, the hype that they used to tell us that Boko Haram had been defeated, they had captured everywhere in Sambisa forest, and yet, just last week, 2 weeks ago, some of our Chibok girls were returned, which is a credit to this government. But the question also is, where were they returned from if you had captured everywhere? And so there is an exaggeration by this government of what they have done. And if you leave security, for which I give them some credit, and then you talk about tackling corruption, and you can see that they don't score very high in those two areas. In terms of the economy, the jury is out there, and it is very negative. Things have moved from, I would say bad to worse. Things have not been okay with the average Nigerian. Inflation has risen, cost of everything that you can imagine. And one of the images I have of the elements in APC today, who are the leading elements, Rufai and so many other people, are when they all came out against the increase in fuel prices that was done by President Jonathan. And they said it was impossible, you shouldn't do that. And where are we today? Fuel has moved from 87 to 147, and nobody is saying anything. Of course, as far as they are concerned, it is just one of those things. So what we see is a pattern of whatever the PDP government had done was bad. And whatever they do today, even if it's affecting the lives of our people and the welfare of our people, they don't want to say anything. They just want to think that suffering is an achievement. It's not.
Senator Abaribe,
governments come into office to improve what is there. They don't come into office to worsen the situation. But what we see is a situation where this promise made of an El Dorado once the APC government takes office has not been realized in any way with regard to the economy. When we move beyond the economy too, and we get to anti-corruption, we do not see anything that has been done with regard to corruption by this government. What we have seen is simply an externalization and I would say media hype of matters that ought to have been taken with a much more serious bent if we were really concerned about fighting corruption. And one of the very tragic things that happened with this government is that when you point out to them that what you're doing is not so good or that this is not the right way to do things, some elements in this government will say, oh, corruption is fighting back and all that, and therefore would want to tag anybody who tells them what you're doing is not correct, that, oh, you are part of the corrupt set that is fighting us, which is absolutely very wrong. So what I see is that the government set out to do one thing: demonize the opposition, find a way of removing from our political space anybody who is opposed to what they do. Yet they continue to wallow in the corrupt acts that they were accusing the opposition of. And so my colleagues in the National Assembly, especially in the Senate, have uncovered so many things. And of course, you all know about the grass cutting business and all that, right in the center of government. And yet, nothing has come out of it. We are just waiting for them to take action. But it now looks as if the demons are in the opposition party and all the saints. Even when you catch them with their hand in the peanut jar, they're still saints because they are part of APC. And so that cannot be the way to fight corruption. When you want to fight corruption, you're supposed to fight it without any favors. Everybody who is corrupt is found, is put before. Yes, please.
Thank you so much. You've extensively spoken tonight on the issues at hand. Thank you for joining us on the News at 10. Appreciate you joining us tonight.